cloudy downtown. It's getting windier, 57 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey. And a family sues the city and a church over the death in last year's tornado that ripped through St. Louis. New census numbers show that the city has lost even more residents. We'll have those numbers for you. A group of actors in Illinois and a group of journalists there say AI is stealing their work.
I'm Joe Pott. The Cardinals coming home after a winning road trip. I've got those details coming up in sports.
This is AccuWeather's John Feark. A thunderstorm in parts of the area this morning. Warmer today with some sun. We're up to 85.
At the tone, it is 6 o'clock in mid-America and time for CBS News.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
The relationship is a very strong one.
President Trump's pronouncement before he got on a flight home after this week's talks in Beijing. Correspondent Jared Hill.
A stately send-off for President Trump after wrapping up his two-day summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The president played up a spirit of friendship in his second state visit to Beijing, but hanging over the trip, the U.S. war with Iran, a major Chinese trading partner. President Trump says Xi offered to help reach a peace deal.
We feel very similar in Iran. We want that to end. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open.
The president made no mention of China's biggest concern, the future of Taiwan. The tolls jumped to 24, death toll has in yesterday's Russian missile attack on an apartment building in Kyiv. Locals say 3 teenagers are among the dead. CBS's Aidan Stretch is there.
Ukrainian officials say this was Russia's largest missile and drone attack over a 2-day period since its full-scale invasion began in 2022.
President Zelensky says 48 people were wounded. Sources tell CBS News the Department of Justice is taking steps to indict former 94-year-old Cuban President Raul Castro over the downing of a humanitarian plane 30 years ago. CBS's Sarah Lynch.
When this incident happened, Cuba had alleged that these planes, which were being flown by a humanitarian group, had flown into Cuban airspace and that this was justified.
CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba yesterday and met with Castro's son, nicknamed Raulito. Cubans have been protesting fuel shortages that have left the island mostly in the dark after the U.S. imposed an oil blockade. Here in the U.S., Oklahoma, the latest state to sue Roblox over child safety concerns.
Oklahoma's lawsuit accuses the popular gaming platform of turning a blind eye as predators targeted and exploited minors. The suit says in one case, a 12-year-old girl was coerced into sending explicit photos and videos to a man in his 40s who posed as a teenager on the platform. Last month, Roblox reached a $12 million settlement with Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford over a similar lawsuit.
As our children connect online, we must be aware that there are those who would seek to harm them.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Fire officials in Ohio say 2 people were killed when their small plane crashed into a home in Akron and exploded into flames. Fire Chief Sergey Lash.
The family was home. There were 4 individuals that lived there, and thankfully they all made it out safely with no injuries.
2 of them children. The FAA and NTSB are investigating. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
It is 6:03. We've got mostly cloudy skies. It's windy out there in downtown St. Louis, 57 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Tomorrow marks 1 year since an EF3 tornado ripped across St. Louis City, causing billions of dollars in damage and killing 4 people.
Amongst that damage, the Centennial Christian Church in Fountain Park collapsed under the weight of the storm. One of the survivors of the collapse, DeMarco Davidson, says with the city failing to sound the siren, he and others inside were unaware a tornado was headed their way.
Because I was in a meeting, I had my phone on silent, so I didn't hear anything. I didn't see, and I didn't know that there was a tornado on its way.
He says the tornado ripped the roof off the building, with the white sky being the last thing he saw before the floor gave out and debris falling on top of him. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The church collapse caused the death of one of the tornado's 4 victims, Pat Pendleton, otherwise known as Miss Pat. This week, her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and the church. Kansas City and Cincinnati are up. St. Louis, down. New census numbers show the city of St. Louis lost nearly 8% of its residents in just 5 years. The city is now down to 278,144 people, with the decline accelerating compared to the previous decade. Peer cities like the ones we just mentioned, along with Minneapolis, even Pittsburgh, added population in that same time period. St. Louis University's Ness Sandoval says St. Louis cannot keep absorbing the loss.
This is why you have to get younger. You have to be proactive, pro-business, pro-housing.
Sandoval warns the city is approaching a demographic tipping point, and once that line is crossed, reversing that trend becomes very difficult. Congresswoman Ann Wagner wants the FBI to step into the ongoing check-washing scheme that's tied to the St. Louis Postal Service Processing and Distribution Center. The West County Republican asked FBI Co-Deputy Director Andrew Bailey to investigate, citing a Madison County, Illinois Sheriff's Office letter that documents more than $45,000 in losses from stolen and then chemically altered checks. The Sheriff's Office also says its investigators have been stonewalled by Postal Service management. Wagner's letter points to the recent discovery of a large pile of mail dumped in a North St. Louis lot as further evidence of breakdowns at the Postal Service in this region. Senator Josh Hawley putting the heat on his own party.
Hawley wants to suspend the federal fuel tax. He tells KMOX.
To my fellow Republicans, I thought Republicans were for cutting taxes. Let's cut some taxes, by golly. Let's cut taxes on the working people of Missouri and everywhere else who are paying too much for gas, too much for diesel. They cannot afford it.
Hawley introduced his 90-day suspension of the tax on Monday after President Trump endorsed the idea, with gas prices surging since the war with Iran began. But Senator Hawley also unveiled a bigger plan to KMOX, eliminating federal taxes on Americans' out-of-pocket health care costs, including premiums, doctor's visits, and prescriptions. He calls it part of a broader cost of living push. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A teacher in the Fox C6 school district has been arrested. 42-year-old Fox middle school teacher Zachary Robert Leonard was taken into custody after an investigation into inappropriate sexual contact with a student under the age of 14. Leonard is charged with child enticement, child molestation, and sexual contact with a student. He's currently being held at the Arnold Police Department without bond. The city's latest plan to spend the Rams settlement money has been revealed.
Well, the latest bill to allocate the Rams settlement money has been unveiled, and it includes $110 million towards North City, with $79 million going specifically towards tornado recovery, $65 million for citywide infrastructure projects, $55 million for downtown, and another $25 million set aside for reserves. Aldermanic President Megan Green, after last year's bill fell apart on the board floor, was asked if there's confidence a coalition can be built around this bill. She said she's confident they can get to that point. Does Mayor Spencer share that same confidence?
The work that we have put in over the last several months has been intense, has been very, very involved, and I am confident that we can get something across the Board of Aldermen here very shortly.
One thing that was emphasized throughout this press conference is that this money is not going to solve all the city's problems. It's not large enough to solve any single problem, but they're hopeful that it's enough where people will be satisfied that some of their problems will be addressed. In St. Louis City, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, some major tech companies are being taken to court by a group of Illinois actors and journalists over the use of AI.
The suit targets Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, as well as Adobe, Samsung, and 11 Labs. It has been filed by Chicago law firm Lovey & Lovey. Attorneys argue tech companies are in violation of the state's Biometric Information Privacy Act by using the voices of real actors, vocal artists, and journalists to develop their interactive AI assistants. Those involved in the suit say they were never notified or compensated for their voices being used in the process. One attorney quoted as saying they built a billion-dollar industry on stolen voices because they thought no one would make them pay for it. Defendants include Carol Marine, Phil Rogers, and Victoria Nassif.
That's Andy Dane with the story from Chicago. It's 6:08. We'll check traffic and weather coming up next.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft chews, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads on this Friday morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're doing great, Megan, so far. I mean, it's getting busier, but Friday mornings don't tend to be all that bad from a volume standpoint. And the only place we had restrictions and delays was on westbound 64 in Fairview Heights. That's thinned out. That we had a jam through 159, almost midway to 157. Overnight, they closed additional lanes. They were just running a little behind schedule, so got it picked up. Everything's thinned back out. It looks great through there right now, and I don't see any other issues on the interstates. We do have an emergency crews responding for a crash, a vehicle off the roadway into the trees, I believe, on the 13,500 block of Highway A. That's Washington County, so you may find some restrictions if you normally travel through that area. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KMOX AccuWeather, a thunderstorm in parts of the area this morning, especially to the north of the city. Clouds and sun warmer for today, the high 85. Mostly cloudy tonight down to 69. A thunderstorm in the area later on. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow. A couple of showers and a heavy gusty thunderstorm in the area, the high 83. Then we'll heat up on Sunday, partly sunny up to 92. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather's John Feerick on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now it is mostly cloudy and 57 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Cardinals are coming home after a winning road trip, and I'll tell you more about that straight ahead in sports.
It's 6:12. We continue to follow the strike at big alcohol distributor Breakthrough Beverage. If the name doesn't ring a bell, the brands probably will. Absolute, Jameson, Yingling, and Red Bull, just a few they distribute to bars, restaurants, and stores across Missouri.
We're on our last bottle of some of those things right now, and I can't get an order until at least next Tuesday.
And you don't know if that's happening.
And that's if it comes at all right
That's
now.
Phil Costello, owner of Chicago restaurant The Side Lot, talking to CBS News. The company headquartered in Chicago, but has a large presence in South St. Louis after its acquisition of locally based major brands.
For a stretch after the pandemic, Celebrate St. Louis was smaller. Down along Lenore K. Sullivan, it drew modest crowds compared to its massive heyday. This year, General Chair Jessica Fox is deliberately trying to break that pattern. She says the move back under the arch, the milestone of the country's birthday, and the lineup of big stars are all pointing at one goal.
We're anticipating that we're going to see crowd sizes that we saw, in the, 2016, 17, even potentially bigger. I do believe that it is going to be a reset year for us. The fact that we're back under the arch on that amazing arch grounds is going to be an even bigger opportunity for that reset.
Headliners include Zedd, Miranda Lambert, Ludacris, Kenny Loggins, and Bob Marley's son, Steven. Fox also points to a new immersive innovation experience this year built around St. Louis industries like aviation, geospatial, and biosciences as part of that push.
An event tonight will bring together the city's Jedis. The 14th annual Star Wars Fan Fest kicks off at 6 tonight at the Grantsview County Library branch. Event organizer Rochelle Romero says the free event will have something for fans of all ages.
This year's Fan Fest will include screen-accurate costume characters from the 501st and Rebel Legion. We'll have Lindbergh Strolling Strings here to play some of your favorite Star Wars music. We will also have sword demonstrations by the St. Louis School of Arms.
Our Redbird Report is sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. The Cards trying to make it a winning road trip. Yesterday afternoon, they were finishing up a series in Sacramento against the A's with Michael McGreevy on the hill for the Redbirds. Now, Nick Kurtz hit a grand slam in Wednesday's loss against the Athletics. Yesterday, he puts the A's on top with a home run in the first inning. It's still 1-0 all the way into the fifth when Victor Scott II ties things up for the Redbirds.
There's a swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Pretty well hit by Victor Scott, and it's gone. Onto the berm, underneath the trees and right in the shade where a bunch of fans are. Victor Scott has just hit his second home run of the season, and he's tied this game.
That early run against Michael McGreevy, well, that was it. He goes 6. He only gives up the single run. Meanwhile, Jordan Walker comes up in the 6th. This is the first of 2 big swings in the game for Walker.
The 1-2 pitch to Jordan Walker is hit hard into right center field, and that is carrying towards the gap, and it's over the wall. A home run the other way. He got it up into the wind, and the Cardinals lead 2-1. Home run number 12 for Jordan Walker. A game of big flies here this afternoon, and it's Walker coming through here in the 6th.
And we're still in the 6th inning. Mason Wynn takes advantage of a couple of errors by the A's. He gets all the way to 3rd. That's where he stands for Nolan Gorman.
A couple of errors, and there's a little looper into right field off the end of the bat of Gorman. It's going to drop for a base hit. Scoring from 3rd is Mason Wynn as Gorman put the ball in play, got the slider, and got a piece of it, and got it into the outfield, and picks up RBI number 23, and it's 3-1 St. Louis.
The A's would get one back in the 7th. It's 3-2 as Shea Langoliers hits with runners on.
He's 2 for 3 on the afternoon. The first pitch right back up the middle, base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes another runner around the third base. 2 runs have scored, and now the A's have taken the lead. Man, oh man.
All of a sudden, it's 4-3 A's. 9th inning now. Cardinals trying to come back. Joel Pozo singles to start the inning. Thomas Sajaci runs for him at first. With 2 outs, J.J. Weatherholt is hit by a pitch. And now there's runners at first and second for Ivan Herrera.
Herrera more than capable. The first pitch to Ivan is grounded to the left side. Base hit! It goes into left field. Sajaci rounding 3rd. A play at the plate. Not in time! The Cardinals tie it with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
So remember Walker with the home run earlier. I said it was the first big swing for Walker. Time for that second big swing for Walker. Here it is in the 9th.
Walker homered in the 6th. Perkins ready. The pitch to Walker is swung on, hit down the right field line. It's dropping, and it's a hit! A hit for Walker! 1 run scores! Walker into second base with a double, and the Cardinals have the lead in the 9th inning. Jordan Walker with the hit to right. RBI number 32, and it's 5-4 St. Louis.
Riley O'Brien on for the bottom of the 9th inning. He had to pitch around a base runner in that bottom half of the inning, but he does so. He wins it, or he finishes it off, I should say. Picks up his 13th save. That's tied for the Major League lead, and the Redbirds get out with the 5-4 win and a 4-3 record on that California road trip. They are back at Busch tonight. They start a series with the Royals. 7:15 is the first pitch, 6:20 for Ameren Total Access. Next sports update comes up at 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's see how things are moving on the roads. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How's it look out there?
Well, great so far, Megan. I mean, there's a few more folks on the highways, but there's really nothing going on. There's a little bit of a slowdown. It looks like westbound 64 right at the 70 split on the Illinois side before you head to the Poplar or Mutual Veterans Bridges, but in the work zones, 70 coming in from out west Warrenton Way, southbound 61, even through Winslow Parkway. Normally, we'd start to see some volume. 55 at Festus, approaching the Merrimack River from Arnold and north of River to Pear. Everything's still wide open for you. I want to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route, and just remind you, today's another day of work going on where they have up to 15-minute closures at least 3 times during the day, up to 3 times a day, I guess you should say, from 9 to 2, westbound 70 at Highway Z, and that exit to Highway Z will be closed. So you never know when that's going to happen between 9 and 2, but when it does, when you start to see those backups, your Ground Advantage reliable route is going to be to take northbound 61 up to Wentzville Parkway or take Highway A off Highway 70, depending on how bad the backup is, and take Wentzville Parkway around to get back on westbound 70 in Wentzville. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it could be a stormy morning. It is looking kind of dark in places downtown, a lot of wind kicking up. So just keep that in mind, that is a possibility in parts of the listening area this morning, thunderstorms. But then the rest of the day, clouds and sunshine, a high of 85. We could see a storm moving in late tonight and tomorrow. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm, otherwise mostly cloudy. But some of those storms tomorrow could bring hail and damaging winds. Right now, it's just mostly cloudy, windy, and 57 downtown.
It's now 6:22. Are too many Americans on psychiatric medication? KMOX's Chris and Amy asked Dr. Adam O'Mary, psychologist and research fellow at the Cato Institute.
15 to 20% of Americans, that's tens of millions of adults, are now on psych meds. In kids, the number even higher. 30% of American college students are on psych meds. And just 20 years ago, the numbers were less than 10%. That's millions of kids, tens of millions of adults.
You note that, yes, in some cases, those numbers jump up because there's more awareness and people are talking about it as well. But a lot of that surge can be explained by what you say is a broadening of the American Psychiatric Association's diagnostic criteria and financial incentives for diagnosing more. And you bring up the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act of 2008.
What the Mental Health Parity Act did is it required insurance companies to cover mental health care as an essential service, like other physical medical care, surgical care. Prior to that, it wasn't considered an essential service, so insurances didn't have to provide mental health coverage. So this was a good thing in terms of expanding access, but what it also does is it creates greater incentive to provide mental health care and overdiagnose, even when it's not necessarily needed. And exactly what you'd predict in the last few decades as these incentives have opened up. Suddenly, we see more than doubling, more than tripling of psychiatric diagnoses across virtually every category, especially in children.
Is it necessarily wrong, though, or is it a situation where we say, well, 20 years ago, all these kids weren't being diagnosed with this disorder or that, or adults weren't either? But could it be that, well, now we just know more about it. We know what to call it. We know how to diagnose it and to treat it. How do you find the balance between those two things?
That's a very common explanation. People will say the number of diagnoses are rising because we have better screening tools. We're catching more subtle cases. Well, according to the NIH, 50% of American adolescents have met criteria for mental illness. 50% of our population is not mentally ill. If you have 50% or even 20 or 30% meeting diagnostic criteria, I think that's pretty clear that the diagnostic criteria have broadened to such a degree that we're pathologizing normal behavior, normal difficulty. There's no objective cutoff between ordinary worry and clinical anxiety. There's no objective cutoff between ordinary sadness or grief and clinical depression. Most people have experienced some level of depression, anxiety, other mental struggles. That doesn't mean that they deserve a clinical diagnosis.
That's Dr. Adam O'Mary with the Cato Institute.
There's a new type of cholesterol test that the American Heart Association now recommends everyone get at least once in their lifetime.
This test is for heightened levels of lipoprotein A, better known as Lp(a), and only needs to be done once because Lp(a) levels are inherited. Cardiologist Dr. Brian Bostic with MU Healthcare.
This new test is a way to find people who were missing, who are walking around not realizing their risk has increased because they say, well, my blood pressure is normal, my blood sugar is normal, I have a healthy weight, they told me my cholesterol is good, but if your Lp(a) level is elevated, you could be at up to a 40% increased risk and not be aware of it by the traditional testing.
The latest American Heart Association guidelines still want us to get our annual lipid panel test, but say we should talk to our doctors about getting this extra test, which is not included in the standard lipid panel. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Illinois drivers one step closer to insurance rate relief. Andy Dane has the story.
Legislation aimed at lowering auto insurance rates for Illinois residents has passed the state Senate and now advances to the House for a final vote. The bill would require insurance companies to notify customers of premium hikes over 10% at least 30 days in advance and would prohibit, as Secretary of State Alexia Giannoulias puts it, excessive, inadequate, or unfairly discriminatory rates. The Illinois Department of Insurance would also be tasked with reviewing car insurance rate hikes. Groups like the Illinois Insurance Association warn the change could result in higher costs and lower coverage options, while Giannoulias says it protects consumers and increases fairness.
It is now 6:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
One thing you should probably jot down on your to-do list is to call and make an eye appointment. And not just any eye appointment, because a lot of times that just means reading the eye chart. But make an appointment with the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Ophthalmology Associates, they are doctors who are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, YourEyeDoc.com. You may think, well, I don't have diseases of the eye. Well, you wouldn't know that without a thorough examination. But I'll tell you two things that I discovered thanks to the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Dr. Ranjan Malhotra was looking at a bunch of my test results and said, you see this blood vessel? I'm really concerned about this because it looked inflamed or something. Anyway, we went through some of the medications that I was on, and he said, could you not take this one? So I stopped taking it, and problem solved. So I wouldn't have known that. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Plus, I have dry eye disease, which is now under control thanks to Ophthalmology Associates. So I'm telling you, it is the most thorough eye exam that you could ever have, and you really need to check in with your eyes at the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. 314-966-5000.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6 here on KMOX.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
At 6:30, we have cloudy skies, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're coming in on Highway 55, just be advised, we have a report of a crash northbound 55 right at the 270 exit ramp. So it's in, I can't tell if it's in one of the lanes or not, but traffic is starting to back up. I can see the backup here. The right lanes are starting to hit the brakes as you come through Butler Hill on northbound 55. Now, it looks good down to the south of you there, but north of that point, there's some slower traffic as well. Weber up to about Holly Hills a little busy, and there's a little volume up the hill from Doherty Ferry, maybe midway up to Manchester, North 270. It's a little more traffic there. Southbound 61, just a little slowdown as you approach the 64 crossover, but then you get back on track, and 70 looks great from out west in Wentzville, and 64 on the Illinois side coming through 159 right now, good to go, and you're still clear across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges downtown as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We may see some thunderstorms in the area this morning, especially to the north of the city. Otherwise, clouds with some sunshine later, warmer, a high of 85 today. Mostly cloudy, warm with a thunderstorm late tonight, an overnight low of 69. And then tomorrow, cloudy and humid. A couple of showers and thunderstorms are possible, a high of 83. We have 59 degrees both in Florissant and St. Peters, 57 downtown at the Arch.
Missouri's largest marijuana company is facing a second antitrust class action lawsuit in just 2 weeks. A Kansas City consumer alleges Little Rock-based Good Day Farm used more than 40 affiliated LLCs to control more than a quarter of Missouri's dispensary licenses, locking out competing brands and inflating prices. The state cap is supposed to be 10% of licenses per company. Good Day Farms calls those claims baseless and says it operates in full compliance with state law. The case was filed in Jackson County Circuit Court.
A new census report out yesterday shows St. Louis lost nearly 8% of its residents from 2020 to 2025. That's 23,000 people leaving. The Business Journal points out that's higher than last decade's decline rate of more than 5% or 18,000 people. The city is down to 278,144 population. We've talked extensively with St. Louis University demographer Ness Sandoval about the effects.
We're going to see industries kind of go out of business. We're going to have to close a lot of universities. We're going to see a lot of high schools and grade schools close.
Those numbers don't yet reflect last year's tornado, which Sandoval says will further refine the picture in the next census release.
Among the $1 billion of last year's EF3 tornado damage caused to North City, one of the oldest Black churches in St. Louis City collapsed. The Centennial Christian Church was knocked down, trapping people inside. One of those people, DeMarco Davidson, remembers how quickly it all happened.
In the midst of me covering up Cheryl Jackson, both of us were actually picked up. We were thrown to some degree. We landed on the floor, and then the floor collapsed from underneath us and had us at an angle, and then other debris and the ceiling, other parts of the ceiling and stuff fell in on top of us as well.
He says he was trapped for 2 hours, did not understand the scope of the collapse until he saw the front of the building with bricks spilled all over. The collapse caused the death of Patricia Pendleton, also known as Miss Pat. Earlier this week, her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and the church.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll get your money report next. It's 6:34.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is rivalry weekend in baseball, and you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of that old St. Louis, Kansas City rivalry that is ongoing. And FanDuel right now is introducing rivalry weekend bonus blasts. Bet on a home run this Friday and get bonus bets for every home run that player's team hits this weekend. So whether you're backing a player on your favorite team or you're going to fade the rivals, there are more ways to get in on that action, and you can just decide how to do it. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. This app is easy to use. It is intuitive. It's got everything you need right there. FanDuel is your home for home runs. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Must apply bonus blast token. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is 6:35. We will get you updated on traffic and weather here in just about 5 minutes. It does look like it could storm any minute here in downtown St. Louis, and that is definitely a possibility. First, we need to get you updated on your money report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Jay Powell's term as chair of the Federal Reserve ends today. He'll be replaced by Kevin Warsh. President Trump's pick was narrowly confirmed as the new leader of the central bank on Wednesday. Powell says although his term is ending as chair after 8 years, he's staying on the Fed's Board of Governors. That breaks with the precedent of past chairs leaving when their leadership term expires. Checking on the markets this morning, stock futures are lower following another tech-led record high on Wall Street yesterday. The Dow closed above 50,000 while the S&P 500 touched above the 7,500 level. NASDAQ futures are leading the losses this morning. And with the key home selling season underway, mortgage rates in the U.S. are little changed. According to Freddie Mac, the average rate for a 30-year fixed loan is 6.36%. By historical standards, the housing market remains weak, and the ups and downs of rates may undermine momentum as the conflict in the Middle East shows little signs of easing. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The reason many of us hate insurance companies is because some of them act like bullies. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been dealing with these creatures my whole career. Whether it's a workers' comp claim, an auto accident, or a nursing home or medical mishap, the playbook is often the same: deny and delay. We became the largest injury firm in America for a reason. We fight the bullies. They know who we are, and I know it makes a difference for our clients. Just go to forthepeople.com and see our results and our verdicts after those bullies gave us their final offer. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. It's easy to get going. Visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer, or call us on your cell at #law. Pound 529. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. ForThePeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Pool days call for cookouts and lots of laundry. This Memorial Day at Lowe's, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner gas grill, now just $199. Plus, get up to 45% off select major appliances to keep dishes, clothes, and food fresh. Having fun in the sun is easy with us in your corner. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See associate or Lowe's.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Royals.
Emron Total Access 620. First pitch 7:15.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:40. Let's see how things are moving on the roads this morning. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they look okay out there, Megan. The only place we've had some trouble is on northbound 55, a minor crash on the, it looks like to me like it's on the shoulder, northbound 55 just before the 270, 255 ramps. Traffic is slow in those right lanes. It's almost midway up the hill from Merrimack Bottom to Butler Hill where it's slowing down. But again, it's not a jam, just a slowdown. And it looks good further down south. Coming up from Richardson through 141 to the Merrimack, no delays in that work zone. And now there are no delays up north of Bayless across River to Pear either. So it's just that stretch, again, midway up the hill from Merrimack Bottom to Butler Hill or approaching Butler Hill, primarily the right lanes where that crash occurred. Other than that, everything else looks great. On the Illinois side, 64 coming to 159, good. Clear across the bridges downtown. North 270, as you ramp on from 55, looks great up through 44, both directions between 64 and Ladue, and the construction zones are okay. The 64 ramps to North 270 have yet to back up. Southbound 61, we had a little volume earlier. It's thinned out now, coming on to 64 or 70 and 64 and 70 from the split out in Wentzville headed across the Missouri River bridges. I'm not seeing any delays. It looks like there's still restrictions. It's westbound, so it's not going to impact you this morning much, but westbound Landmarks Boulevard, west of the Clark Bridge yesterday afternoon, that had traffic jammed on northbound 67 all the way back to 94 in West Alton. So let's hope they get that rectified before this afternoon's rush begins. Next update at 6:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it is looking kind of stormy out there right now. Can't quite tell if it's raining. What do you think, Joe? We're looking out the window here. Looks like
I was trying to figure that out as well.
Looks like a little bit of rain.
It does look like it's raining just a little bit.
Yeah. So that could be expected.
Official weather right there, by the way.
We are very scientific here in Studio B. But yes, thunderstorms in parts of the listening area, but it should clear out today and we'll just have clouds and sun in 85. But let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, John Farrick. John is better at telling us what's coming up with the weather than Joe and I looking out the window.
Well, not necessarily. But yeah, no, it does look like we're going to see some thunderstorms out there this morning off to the north and east, especially. Generally, you have to go, say, toward Mount Olive, Litchfield. That's where we're seeing some pretty heavy rain at this point across portions of Illinois. And that's going to continue to kind of push off toward the east here as we head through the morning. So I think the balance of the day here is going to be dry. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine. It'll be warmer up to 85 and then mostly cloudy tonight down to 69. Maybe a thunderstorm late tonight. So it should be dry this evening for the Cards game. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers of the thunderstorm around. A thunderstorm could produce hail, damaging winds, a high 83. And then hot and steamy for Sunday, partly sunny, breezy up to 92. Still quite warm on Monday, partly sunny, breezy, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon up to 86, and then a few showers and a thunderstorm around for Tuesday, the high 78. Currently at 61 in St. Peter, 63 in Florissant. It's mostly cloudy, and 61 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist John Farrick on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Well, Jordan Walker continues to help the Cardinals along, and I'll tell you more about that. I'll let you hear from Jordan Walker coming up in sports.
More news now at 6:43. Israel and Lebanon talked in Washington Thursday. The negotiations aimed at ending the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. CBS's Olivia Gazis in Washington has the latest.
A third round of ambassador-level talks between Israel and Lebanon is continuing in Washington as the U.S. aims to shore up a ceasefire that remains under strain on the ground. A State Department official said the first day of a two-day session ran from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and was productive and positive, adding that talks would continue on Friday. The discussions come amid continuing volatility in southern Lebanon, where missile strikes and drone attacks have persisted despite diplomatic efforts to extend the truce. Olivia Gazis, CBS News, Washington.
Another perhaps less serious but easily spread outbreak has hit a ship in Europe that had stops in the British Isles. This comes as the U.S. is dealing with its citizens who are quarantined out of concern for a hantavirus outbreak aboard an international cruise ship. CBS News foreign correspondent Rami Inocencio reports from London on the outbreak of norovirus that hit at least 50 people on the ship Ambition.
And there's some good news for the passengers of the Ambition. The quarantine has been lifted. Some passengers with no symptoms were allowed to disembark. And French officials also cleared that ship to resume operations. And I spoke to a WHO expert, an expert on norovirus, and he told me that there are the basic things we need to do. Wash your hands, use sanitizing gel. It always comes back to that. But norovirus is extremely resilient, and that's why we have been hearing about cases.
The Supreme Court preserves access to the abortion drug mifepristone by mail while a lawsuit unfolds. Here's CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford.
Drug companies asked the justices for an emergency order to put the lower court's ruling on hold while the litigation played out. They say the lower court ruling would cause upheaval and chaos, and that the drug is proven to be safe and effective. The abortion pill is the most common method of abortion, and around a quarter of prescriptions are by mail. Jan Crawford, CBS News, Washington.
Who's Hot, Who's Not is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. The month of May has been a good one so far for Cards right fielder Jordan Walker. That continued yesterday after putting the Cards on top with a homer in the 6th. He got a chance to move them in front again in the 9th.
Walker homered in the 6th. Perkins ready. The pitch to Walker is swung on, hit down the right field line. It's dropping, and it's a hit! A hit for Walker! 1 run scores! Walker into second base with a double, and the Cardinals have the lead in the 9th inning. Jordan Walker with the hit to right. RBI number 32, and it's 5-4 St. Louis.
After the game, he talked about his approach with Danny Wexelman on Cardinals TV.
I mean, yeah, she's got good stuff. Really, I want him to take anything he had, just like try to backside of the field. A little late on the heater, but just got out my path, and I just muscled it out there in the outfield, and it ended up working out.
For the month, Walker hitting .318, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and he's got a 1.048 OPS. He helped the Cardinals to that win, and the Cardinals had a 4-3 road trip to California. Now they're back home tonight. They start a 6-game homestand at Busch, and they start that series with a Royals team that has gone cold. They've lost their last 4 games. They come into the series last in the American League Central at 19-25. First pitch tonight is 7:15. More baseball. The Gateway Grizzlies were home yesterday at Arsenal BG Ballpark.
The Gateway Grizzlies struggled on Thursday night, giving up 9 runs in their last 3 innings on the mound, en route to a 14-5 loss to the Joliet Slammers at Arsenal BG Ballpark. With a Gateway Grizzlies update for KMOX Sports, I'm the voice of the Grizzlies, Jason Garrett. After an early solo home run by Victor Castillo put Gateway up 1-0, a grand slam by Joliet's Ian Battapaglia, part of a 5-run second inning, put the Slammers ahead to stay. The Grizzlies would get back within 5-4 on a pair of home runs by St. Louis native Mark Schallenberger, giving him 4 in his last 2 contests. But their relief pitching faltered late as they surrendered 3 runs in the 7th, 4 in the 8th, and 2 in the 9th for the final margin. Now 3-3 on the season, Gateway welcomes the Windy City Thunderbolts into Sauget for a 3-game weekend series beginning on Friday night at 6:30 p.m. All the action can be heard live on Odyssey.com and the free Odyssey app.
Some college basketball news. How about this? CBS Sports' John Rothstein reported yesterday Mizzou and SLU are working to finalize a men's basketball game in 2026 at Enterprise Center. November 6th, specifically, that's the date. And Channel 5 Sports Director Frank Cusimano reports that 2026 game, That is actually just part of a 3-year deal. Obviously, plenty more details to come on this, but that is great news for college basketball fans in this area. Next sports update is 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. I've been a customer for the last couple of years. We had mulch delivered to our home earlier this spring. It's already been spread. Now's the perfect time for that. The perfect time to refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. It is the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. St. Louis Composting has 9 retail locations all over the area. I didn't realize that when I first started talking about them. 9 locations all over the area, so there's one close to you. But you know what we did? We had the mulch delivered. You can just go to stlcompost.com. You can pick out the type of mulch you want. You can use their material calculator to figure out how much soil or mulch your project requires, and then they'll bring it to your home. stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only in 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or on the app.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Aussie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, it is 6:50 and still kind of cloudy and rainy looking out there. A forecast coming your way in just a moment. But first, let's check the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, if it's raining where you are, it's probably just sprinkling. I mean, I know earlier we had some more intense weather up to the north of us, but roadways look dry. What I've been looking at is northbound 55, which is still kind of slow. You know, we had this minor crash that was cleared to the shoulder just before the 270, 255 exit. So those right lanes are still bogged down at a Butler Hill on northbound 55, but it looks good getting up to that point. So coming up from Festus through the Arnold area, it looks good. And north of there, headed into the city, there are no delays in those work zones on 55. In fact, there aren't any delays on the rest of these highways really to speak of. North 270 still looking good from 55 up through 44. Both directions up north of 64 look fine. Coming in from out west, southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70, everything's good to go there. And on the Illinois side, 64 westbound through the construction zone at 159, still incident and delay free, and it's still clear sailing across the downtown bridges. Next update is 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We do have a chance for some thunderstorms this morning. Otherwise, clouds today. Maybe a few pops of sunshine and warmer, high 85. Cloudy and warm, a thunderstorm late tonight, an overnight low of 69. And then cloudy and humid tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms possible, a high of 83. We have clouds 57 downtown at the Arch.
What's good for the heart is good for the brain. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. A new study finds a long-term link between heart attacks and cognitive impairment.
Individuals who had a prior heart attack actually had a steeper decline in their cognition. Could be related to the same kind of vascular disease you get in your heart. Same disease of the blood vessels that cause heart attacks can also be happening in the brain. And we know that that's related to dementia. People may have been having silent strokes that they didn't know about, that over time could have led to dementia, or it could be just not enough blood flowing to the brain because the heart has been weakened by the heart attack.
Ohio State University's Dr. Mohammed Rida says heart health and brain health are intertwined and can be boosted in some simple ways.
Stopping smoking, controlling the blood pressure, controlling your cholesterol, regular exercise, the importance of sleep, the importance of cognitive activities, you're staying cognitively active.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
The 2 damaged libraries in the St. Louis Public Library system that were damaged in the May tornado last year are set to reopen next week. The Cabany and Julia Davis branches will reopen. Cabany on Monday and the Julia Davis branch on Thursday, the 21st.
You and your pup can discover the history behind the Gateway Arch this weekend. The Bark Ranger Arch History Walking Tour is a ranger-guided history walk taking place at Gateway Arch National Park on Saturday. The event starts at 10. It's free. All well-tempered and leashed dogs are welcome.
When the Cardinals return to Busch Stadium tonight, they are in store for some upgrades.
The grass field was replaced this week while Cardinals players were away. It marks the 3rd time the grass has been replaced during season since the stadium opened in 2006. Senior manager of Cardinals field operations, Justin Scott, says crews started construction on the field Sunday and finished by midday Tuesday.
It offers us an instantly playable surface. I mean, that's why they call it game on grass. You can literally lay it out, roll it, and play football on it immediately.
The grass is a blend of Bermuda grass that thrives in the humid summer heat.
From June through the end of the season, it's really at its prime. So this makes it the optimal time of the year to do a sod refresh.
Scott says the field will be ready for tonight's game against the Kansas City Royals. Jade Aubrey, KMWX News.
It's now 6:54.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Celebrity birthdays for this Friday, May 15th include Basketball Hall of Fame coach Don Nelson. He's 86. Musician Brian Eno is 78. Baseball Hall of Famer George Brett, 73. And tennis player Andy Murray, 39.
And the birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday to Sam Wissman from Grandma and Grandpa Wiss. John Berg and Corliss Lapp from your friends at Winchell. Jim Henry of the Ambassadors of Harmony. Happy birthday to Kyle Hammer here at Odyssey St. Louis. Happy 70th, Ken Boland from the retiree group. Happy 16th to Connor Hickam from Mom, Dad, Lauren, and Abby. Happy 81st to Dad from Jake and the family. And happy birthday wishes going out to Betsy Carson and the amazing Aisha Sultan.
This is the best birthday ever.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Gas prices are brutal, but Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, has your back. They're giving away $77 gas gift cards, fueling St. Louis all gas, no brakes. Enter until May 17th at KaufmanTownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis strong.
Looking for reliable HVAC service in St. Louis? The team at Air Comfort Service handles all your heating, cooling, installation, and residential maintenance needs. Visit aircomfortservice.com or call 314-819-0028 today.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFL Battlehawks or Ticketmaster.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Let's see how things are moving on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're moving great right now, Megan. I mean, this is the time of the morning rush hour where we normally get into a lull, but on a Friday morning, we've never even built up anything to get into that lull. So we're still okay. The only place we're still seeing the slow going for the most part is northbound 55. Those right lanes bogged down. South of Butler Hill up to 270. That's where he had a crash with minor injuries on the shoulder, and everything is still congested going through that area. But once you get past that point, it looks great north of Bayless, headed up into the city. 270 from there looks great up past 64 through Ladue out west. Eastbound 64 and 70 still roll along, and Illinois interstates are still trouble-free into downtown. Next update is 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is now 6:59, and it is Friday, May 15th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. Last year's tornado knocked down the Centennial Christian Church, trapping many inside. Coming up, hear my conversation with one of the survivors.
I'm Megan Lynch.
This is KMOX Health Editor Fred Bonimer. The American Heart Association now wants everyone to get a new type of cholesterol blood test. We'll tell you what it is coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist John Feark. A thunderstorm in the area this morning, then warmer up to 85.
I'm Joe Pott. The Cardinals are coming back home, and St. Louis City in a busy stretch is back on the road. More on both in sports.
At the tone, it's 7 o'clock in Mid-America and time for CBS News.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Now that he's left his two-day China summit for Washington, President Trump is commenting on his biggest issue of contention with Xi Jinping, Taiwan. A reporter on Air Force One asked,
would the U.S. defend Taiwan if it came to it?
I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say that. There's only one person that knows that. You know who it is? Me.
Correspondent Wei Jiajiang covered the president's visit to Beijing.
Trump said China agreed to buy American oil, 200 Boeing jets, and soybeans. When it comes to the conflict in Iran, Trump says he and Xi agree the country should not have nuclear weapons and that the Strait of Hormuz must be open.
Sources tell us the Justice Department is taking steps to file criminal charges against Cuba's 94-year-old former president, Raul Castro, in the downing of a humanitarian plane 30 years ago. Correspondent Nicole Skanga.
A potential indictment comes as the U.S. increases pressure on Havana. The Trump administration has threatened heavy tariffs on any country that exports oil to Cuba, leading to energy shortages as oil shipments are largely cut off.
News comes on the same day CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba and met with Castro's son. The Supreme Court has ruled telehealth doctors can still prescribe pills that induce abortions. CBS's Jan Crawford's in Washington.
The Supreme Court's order means women nationwide can continue to get the abortion drug mifepristone by mail while litigation continues.
ICE has released the wife of a 27-year-old Army veteran after a month in custody.
Daisy Rivera Ortega was arrested last month in El Paso while she was signing up for a special immigration program to protect military spouses who are in the U.S. illegally. Her husband, Army Sergeant First Class Jose Serrano, who served 3 tours in Afghanistan, told CBS at the time,
ICE is out of control right now, sir.
Last night, Serrano posted a video with his freed wife.
Hola.
Serrano says he and his wife will follow the immigration process to fix her legal status. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
This is the last day on the job for one of President Trump's chief foes, Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Though his term is expiring, he's sticking around as a member of the Reserve Board. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
I think he'll be remembered less for policy and more for his willingness to take on the executive branch in the form of Donald Trump.
He frustrated the president by refusing to bow to his demands to lower interest rates. Mr. Trump nominated him in 2017. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on. Why?
It's time for 60 Minutes.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to apply AI, data science, and other emerging tech, plus gain skills in leadership and critical thinking. You've come far. Succeed again. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
At 7:04, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, May 15th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. Tomorrow marks 1 year since an EF3 tornado tore across North St. Louis, knocking down the Centennial Christian Church and trapping 3 inside.
One of those people, DeMarco Davidson, recounts the moment right before the church collapsed.
I remember looking up and seeing the sky. I was like, wait a minute, we're indoors. How am I seeing the sky? That's not good.
What did the sky look like?
It was actually clear, like or white. It was like clear, like white, right? And I don't know if we was in the I don't know. I don't know if we was in the center of the tornado. I don't know if we was in the middle of the tornado. I have no clue. But it was bright. It was bright white.
He says with the city not sounding the siren, he and others inside had no idea the tornado was coming. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
One of the 3, Pat Pendleton, known as Miss Pat, died in that church collapse this week. Her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and the church.
A teacher in the Fox C6 school district has been arrested. 42-year-old Fox middle school teacher Zachary Robert Leonard taken into custody after an investigation into inappropriate sexual contact with a student under the age of 14. Leonard charged with child enticement, child molestation, and sexual contact with a student. He's currently being held at the Arnold Police Department without bond.
Congresswoman Ann Wagner asking the FBI to investigate mail theft and check fraud at the U.S. Postal Service's St. Louis Processing and Distribution Center. In a letter to FBI Code Deputy Director Andrew Bailey, she cites a Madison County, Illinois Sheriff's Office complaint that personal checks are being stolen from the mail, chemically altered, and then cashed for larger amounts. Investigators say they've already documented more than $45,000 in losses.
Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley pressing Congress to act now on the cost of living.
It's a crisis. Let's do it quickly.
That was Hawley with KMOX's Michael Calhoun talking about his bill to halt the federal gas and diesel tax for 90 days. He introduced it amid the pump price spikes tied to the war with Iran. But Hawley also unveiled to us a much bigger move, wiping out federal taxes on Americans' out-of-pocket health care costs, including premiums, doctors, and prescriptions. He says he would not stop at a temporary fix.
I would suspend all taxes at that. In fact, I wouldn't just suspend them. I'd cancel them. I'd eliminate them.
New census numbers confirm the scale of St. Louis's population freefall, and a leading demographer warning the city is running out of time to turn it around. Numbers out Thursday show the city lost nearly 8% of its residents from 2020 to 2025, dropping to just over 278,000 people, a steeper decline than the previous decade. Peer cities like Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh actually grew.
St. Louis University's Ness Sandoval has told KMOX the math doesn't work without new arrivals putting down roots.
You need young people to move to your region that want to live there and start families there. And I know that the narrative of St. Louis is that it's affordable, but the young people are just not moving into a region.
Sandoval warns the city is approaching a demographic tipping point where deaths outpace births. And once it crosses that line, the decline becomes very hard to reverse.
From the KMOX business desk, a loophole in Missouri's recreational marijuana law is at the center of a second antitrust lawsuit in a week against the state's largest cannabis company. The 2022 voter-approved amendment capped any single company at 10% of dispensary licenses, but dropped language from the medical marijuana law that had barred multiple licenses under common control. Little Rock-based Good Day Farm is now tied to more than 60 of Missouri's 224 dispensary licenses. A Kansas City consumer is suing, alleging that setup inflates prices and shuts out rivals. The company denies wrongdoing.
We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 7:08.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit lombardohomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10, time for us to take a look at traffic and weather. I think maybe things are brightening up just a tad, but we'll keep you posted as a storm front is moving through this morning. Roger Brand has the latest for us on the roadways from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's still a nice drive into work, with the exception of northbound 55, Debbie, and that is where we still have the stop-and-go traffic. Those right lanes are backed up south of Butler Hill. I'd call it really north of Merrimack Bottom, closer to that than it is Butler Hill. It runs all the way up to 270. We had a minor crash, or a crash with minor injuries, I guess I should say, north 55 just before 270. I believe they had it cleared over the right shoulder. I don't have it in my view right now, but like I said, the backup goes back to almost Merrimack Bottom in those right lanes. After you get around that, it's just a little slow past Bayless. It's a little slow Loughborough up to Holly Hills. North 270 is your ramp on from 55. That's still a great run up through 44 and 64 through Ladue. Out west, southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70, still great shape coming in from Wentzville. On the Illinois side, still no delays. Overnight, we had some stuff going on, but they picked up the roadwork, so 64 looks great through Fairview Heights and headed across the bridges downtown. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, we are looking at a thunderstorm in parts of the area this morning, especially to the north of the city. But beyond that, clouds and sunshine for much of the day with a high of 85. But then we could see a storm late. And then tomorrow, storms, couple of showers and thunderstorms moving through. Some of those thunderstorms could bring some hail and damaging winds. And then just hot on Sunday with a high of 92. Currently in downtown St. Louis, it is cloudy and 56 degrees.
Cards back home after a successful road trip. Highlights from yesterday's winner straight ahead.
It's 7:12. The St. Louis City Mayor and Board of Aldermen introduced the latest plan on how they want to spend RAM settlement money.
The highlights of the bill include $110 million towards North City, including $79 million towards tornado recovery, infrastructure improvements, $65 million, including $30 million for the Water Division, and for the Downtown Revitalization Fund, $55 million. But after last year's bill fell apart on the floor of the board chambers, I asked this key question to Board President Megan Green.
Could this be a process to get enough votes together for its pass?
I think it's very close.
Green says she believes they've reached a place of compromise amongst the board.
Recognition that everybody needs to give a little and that nobody is going to get 100% of what they want.
Outside City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
And we continue to follow the strike at big alcohol distributor Breakthrough Beverage. If the name doesn't ring a bell, the brands they represent probably will. Absolute, Jameson, Yingling, Red Bull, just among the few brands they distribute to bars, restaurants, and stores across Missouri.
We're on our last bottle of some of those things right now, and I can't get an order until at least next Tuesday.
And you don't know if that's happening.
And that's if it comes at all right now, yeah.
That's Phil Costello, who is the owner of Chicago restaurant The Side Lot, talking with CBS News. Breakthrough Beverage is headquartered in Chicago, but has a large presence in South St. Louis after its acquisition of locally based major brands.
The new U-City Target opens this weekend. The Target store at 8647 Olive Boulevard set to open Sunday. It'll be the 21st Target store in the St. Louis region. The store will be the largest as well. It will feature a 2-story parking garage, a Starbucks coffee shop, CVS pharmacy, and a dedicated Apple shop. Target says the grocery area in the store is 50 to 100% bigger than a traditional Target store.
The field at Busch Stadium just got a makeover.
The grass field was replaced earlier this week, making it the third replacement during baseball season since the stadium opened in 2006. Senior manager of Cardinals field operations, Justin Scott, says it's the second time the team has installed this blend of grass since switching to it in 2023.
It weighs roughly 11 pounds per square foot, so it's not like a typical residential piece of sod that you would see at Home Depot or a garden center.
Scott says the Cardinals are the only team in the MLB to use the grass blend except for the Kansas City Royals, who play at Busch Stadium tonight. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Headed to World Cup matches in Kansas City this summer. You can take the train. Amtrak adding 25% capacity to their St. Louis to Kansas City route, known as the Missouri River Runner, in anticipation of large crowds across the state. Additional passenger cars will be added to trains beginning June 15th, running through July 12th, twice a day. Stops along the route from St. Louis to Kansas City include Kirkwood, Washington, Herman, Jefferson City, Sedalia, Warrensburg, Lee's Summit, and Independence.
Cards wrapping up their road trip yesterday afternoon that took them through San Diego and then up to Sacramento. Michael McGreevy on the mound for the finale against the A's. Nick Kurtz, who hit a grand slam Wednesday, put the A's on top with a home run in the first on Thursday. Still 1-0 in the fifth inning when Victor Scott ties things up.
There's a swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Pretty well hit by Victor Scott, and it's gone. Onto the berm, underneath the trees and right in the shade where a bunch of fans are. Victor Scott has just hit his second home run of the season, and he's tied this game.
Well, after the early run, McGreevy gets into the sixth. In fact, goes six, and he only gives up that run. Meanwhile, Jordan Walker hits in the sixth, and this is the first of two big swings in the game for Walker.
The 1-2 pitch to Jordan Walker is hit hard into right center field, and that is carrying towards the gap, and it's over the wall. A home run the other way. He got it up into the wind, and the Cardinals lead 2-1. Home run number 12 for Jordan Walker. A game of big flies here this afternoon, and it's Walker coming through here in the sixth.
Mason Wynn took advantage of a couple of errors by the A's. The inning continues. He gets to third, and he's there for Nolan Gorman.
A couple of errors, and there's a little looper in the right field off the end of the bat of Gorman. It's going to drop for a base hit. Scoring from third is Mason Wynn as Gorman put the ball in play, got the slider, and got a piece of it, and got it into the outfield, and picks up RBI number 23, and it's 3-1 St. Louis.
A's trying to come back in the seventh. They get one to cut it to 3-2, and Shea Langoliers is hitting with runners on.
He's 2 for 3 on the afternoon. The first pitch right back up the middle, base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes another runner around the third base. 2 runs have scored, and now the A's have taken the lead. Man, oh man.
They have. It's 4-3 A's. We go to the ninth inning. Joel Pozo singles, third hit of the game for him as he starts the inning. Thomas Sajaci runs for him at first. With 2 outs, J.J. Weatherholt is hit by a pitch. So it's 2 on base for Ivan Herrera.
Herrera more than capable. The first pitch to Ivan is grounded to the left side. Base hit! It goes into left field. Sajaci rounding third. A play at the plate. Not in time! The Cardinals tie it with 2 outs in the ninth inning.
And then it's Walker just in time for his second big swing of the day.
Walker homered in the sixth. Perkins ready. The pitch to Walker is swung on, hit down the right field line. It's dropping, and it's a hit! A hit for Walker! 1 run scores! Walker into second base with a double, and the Cardinals have the lead in the 9th inning. Jordan Walker with the hit to right. RBI number 32, and it's 5-4 St. Louis.
Recording right there with our cut of the game. It's sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. Riley O'Brien pitches around a base runner in the bottom half of the 9th. He ties the Major League lead with his 13th save as the Cardinals get the win 5-4 and a 4-3 road trip for the Redbirds. They're back at Busch tonight. A series starts with the Royals with a 7:15 first pitch, 6:20 for Ameren Total Access. Next sports update is 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
With now being such a great time of the year for golf, FanDuel is the clubhouse leader for betting major golf. That's right. All customers can get a 25% profit boost every round of the second major. It's a fantastic deal. And as you know, and I've been telling you for months now, FanDuel is the place to go because the interface is easy to use, the app is secure, and you can boost your winnings on anything from outright winners to round leaders to tournament matchups and so much more. You're not going to want to miss out on this. Trust me on that. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel.com/Missouri to download FanDuel and take your swing at boosted winnings. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's see how things look as you head into work and school this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they look great, Megan. I mean, we're getting 20 minutes away from the peak of the rush hour time, and the only place we've got delays interstate-wise is northbound 55. We've still got these right lanes bogged down coming up from, it's almost Merrimack Bottom, north of Merrimack Bottom, up through Butler Hill. It's a stop and go in the right lanes. The other lanes aren't so bad, obviously, up to the 270, 255 exit where they had that crash that they cleared. I believe it's over to the shoulder. I can't see it right now, but that's what they had said earlier. So, and now once you get around that, we have a little more volume once again. So there's a couple of slow spots north of Bayless up through about Virginia on northbound 55 as well. But like I said, the rest of the highways are great. If you get on to North 270 from 55, you're good up through Gravois, 44, up past 64 and Ladue. Coming in from out west, southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70 look great. Come out of St. Charles County on the Illinois side, still no delays. Westbound 64 through 159 in Fairview Heights, and it's still good to go across the bridges downtown as well. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, we do have a chance still of some thunderstorms rolling through the area, especially to our north. There is a big storm front going north of us, but pretty far north. So anyway, the rest of the day, just cloudy and with a little bit of sun, 85. We do have a thunderstorm that could move through late. And then tomorrow we have a couple of showers and thunderstorms, some that could bring hail and damaging winds tomorrow, a high of 83. Currently, it is 58 degrees with cloudy skies in downtown St. Louis.
More news now at 7:22. What lessons should we take away from last year's tornado? Wes Burns, the Executive Vice President of Community and Economic Development with Midwest Bank Center, says tornadoes don't just destroy property.
They also interrupt things like important income streams, also infrastructure, transportation, communication, all things that we really don't think of when we think of a disaster hitting our region. So the most important lesson that we can take away is really having a plan in place before a natural disaster occurs. And making meaningful steps towards that preparedness.
There are definitely gaps in insurance. People who have insurance, even people who have multi-million-dollar mansions in the Central West End, are still waiting to have their homes fixed. So there's going to be a huge lag oftentimes. So what should we think about in terms of those gaps in insurance coverage?
You know, the biggest insurance surprise is usually discovering what isn't covered in a situation like disaster recovery. You know, I often hear our banking customers comment that they have insurance, and that's wonderful. But having insurance doesn't necessarily mean that you have the right insurance. So I think back to some of the natural disasters we've had here in our region. I think of the flood insurance. That damage is often not covered under standard home insurance. You know, for renters, you know, there is very affordable insurance that can cover the assets of renters, even though you may not own your home. If you're renting an apartment or a condo or a single family resident, you can have your assets covered at a very affordable cost. Small businesses, for example, they need to think of their cash flow as much as they think of their equipment. They may have adequate insurance to replace an important piece of equipment that may be damaged during a natural disaster. But what about the revenue that's lost while that equipment's being replaced? Business owners should review business interruption coverage to protect their income as much as they're protecting their assets. I would also encourage everyone to check their deductibles very carefully. A natural disaster generally does still incur the cost of the deductibles. So if you have automobiles that were damaged, if you have your home that was damaged, all of those deductibles will be a cost to you, the insured. So just ensure that you have adequate cash on hand to cover the deductibles in the event of a loss. And then also, as you're looking at the replacement value of equipment or property, just ensure that the replacement values reflected on your policies reflect today's cost. We've all seen cost increasing over the last few years. We think we have proper coverage, but when we go to replace that important piece of equipment or property that's damaged, we are often surprised at how much costs have increased since we took our policy out.
I know Midwest Bank Center has been offering emergency assistance loans.
We recognize that sometimes people don't need long-term solutions immediately. They need breathing room. And emergencies create an immediate need long before insurance checks can arrive. Flexible emergency lending can help with repairs, with temporary housing, with inventory replacement to get businesses back up and running, or simple working capital to allow for payroll to be processed, workers to come back to work, and the cash flow cycle to continue.
Is there any other step or steps that you think people could focus on today to be better prepared financially before another big weather event?
Preparedness doesn't start with perfection. It starts with one small step and can be an incremental process over time. I would encourage you to spend 30 minutes today organizing financial documents digitally. You know, for example, if your home was destroyed in a natural disaster or a fire, ask yourself, can I prove who I am? Do I have the proper documentation saved and secure somewhere else that I can continue operating my business? Or on the personal side, can I access my insurance policies? Do I have my passwords? Do I know the phone numbers of my banker or my insurance agent to contact them quickly to start the recovery process? So there are things that we can all do today that isn't an insurmountable task that can still be very meaningful if we experience another May 16th tragedy.
Great advice from Wes Burns. He's the Executive Vice President of Community and Economic Development with Midwest Bank Center. Thanks so much for the time today.
Thanks for having me on.
It is 7:27 and the Time Check is sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I started wearing glasses when I was in preschool. My eyesight has been a concern my whole life, and that's why I trust Ophthalmology Associates with my vision. You can call 314-966-5000 or go to youridoc.com to find out more about their office. I see Dr. Greg Birdie there. He watches me closely for a number of things as I age, especially glaucoma, which runs in my family. Ophthalmology Associates has the latest technology to track and diagnose your sight. They have a fantastic support staff that guides you through the process, and they're going to give you guidance on what to watch for as you age to see if you need more support. Start this year by taking care of your eye health. Call 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are Drs. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. Again, that number, 314-966-5000.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
I never thought of myself as the type to settle down. Never knew where the team's next lunch was coming from. But then I met you, Easy Cater.
Workplaces everywhere are saying, I do want delicious food at work. And they're ordering from beloved restaurants with Easy Cater.
You were reliable. You had great options for every budget, even when marketing ops did keto again. We got through that together. With you, it's just so easy. Easy Cater, will you keep showing up at my workplace forever?
Find love at first lunch. Order at easycater.com.
It is going on 7:31 and it's cloudy. 58 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Megan Lynch. Before we get to the weather and news, let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest delays, Megan, are still northbound Highway 55. Those right lanes north of Merrimack Bottom up through Butler Hill 270 still periodically stop and go or bunching up due to an earlier crash we had at the 270-255 exit. Once you get past that point, you still have heavy traffic, Bayless all the way up through Virginia on northbound 55. Northbound 270 approaching the Clayton Road overpass. The right lanes are a little busy. If you're on eastbound 30, Mauer up the hill to 270, that's slower right now. Out to the west, eastbound 70 coming through Highway Z to 64. Looks a little heavy, but southbound 61 down to 64 and 70 east of there for that matter. Both 64 and 70 across the Missouri River bridges look great. On the Illinois side, still no delays. Westbound 64 through Fairview Heights at 159, and it's still clear across the Poplar and Musel Veterans bridges as well. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
Curative, that's a complex decision that involves what we call multidisciplinary care. So that involves a surgeon, a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist. So you need the expertise, and that's something that we have here at Siteman, especially geared for these esophageal cancer patients.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Visit siteman.washu.edu.
All right, weather-wise, it's going to just be a little Cloudy today, maybe some sunshine, 85 degrees, then a thunderstorm late, and then thunderstorms tomorrow. It's 58 degrees. And amongst the $1 billion of last year's EF3 tornado, the damage it caused to North City, one of the oldest Black churches in the city collapsed. That would be the Centennial Christian Church, which was knocked down, trapping people inside. One of those people, DeMarco Davidson, remembers how quickly it all happened.
In the midst of me covering up Cheryl Jackson, both of us were actually picked up. We were thrown to some degree. We landed on the floor, and then the floor collapsed from underneath us and had us at an angle. And then other debris and the ceiling, other parts of the ceiling and stuff fell in on top of us as well.
He says he was trapped for 2 hours and didn't really know the scope of the collapse until he saw the front of the building with bricks spilled everywhere. The collapse caused the death of Patricia Pendleton, known to the church as Miss Pat. Earlier this week, her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and the church.
St. Louis City's latest plan to spend Rams settlement money is now released.
The latest bill to allocate the Rams settlement money has been unveiled, and it includes $110 million towards North City, with $79 million going specifically towards tornado recovery, $65 million for citywide infrastructure projects, $55 million for downtown, and another $25 million set aside for reserves. Aldermanic President Megan Green, after last year's bill fell apart on the board floor, was asked if there's confidence a coalition can be built around this bill. She said she's confident they can get to that point. Does Mayor Spencer share that same confidence?
The work that we have put in over the last several months has been intense, has been very, very involved, and I am confident that we can get something across the Board of Aldermen here very shortly.
One thing that was emphasized throughout this press conference is that this money is not going to solve all the city's problems. It's not large enough to solve any single problem, but they're hopeful that it's enough where people will be satisfied that some of their problems will be addressed. In St. Louis City, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:34.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
It's time for your money report now. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Honda and Nissan have essentially traded places since plans to combine the two companies collapsed dramatically last year. Back then, Nissan was bleeding cash and Honda was seen as a white knight. Their tie-up fell apart over Nissan's resistance to demands from Honda. We're 1 year on, and there are signs Nissan's restructuring is taking root, while Honda posted its first annual loss since it was founded in 1948. Industry observers say this may set the stage for a potential restart of talks on more even terms. Checking on your money, a sell-off for stocks this morning. Futures are lower as the artificial intelligence-fueled rally of late takes a break. This week's hotter-than-expected inflation data weighing on shares. And AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon announced a rare joint venture that aims to make satellite capabilities more widely available to mobile phone customers. The initiative will ultimately give customers wireless access when there's little to no cell service. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Since we opened our doors in 1868, Busey has fostered deep customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, we provide a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Save $2 when you buy 2 cans of Superior Products Coverall tire dressing. Plus, get 4 times O-Rewards points now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th, when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Paging all nurses and healthcare heroes. This night is for you. Join the Cardinals for Nurses Appreciation on Wednesday, May 20th and Thursday, May 21st at Busch Stadium. With a special theme ticket, you'll receive a healthcare-inspired Cardinal sweatshirt plus a coupon for a complimentary drink. It's our way of saying thank you for all that you do in our community. Don't miss the special theme at the ballpark. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and the Reserve at Wildwood is where you want to be. Park-like setting with front porches on every home, connected trails for exploring, walk to Main Street and Wildwood Town Center, top-rated Rockwood schools, and legendary McKelvey quality you can count on, featuring James Hardy siding. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and learn what makes the Reserve so special. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Caw-caw! Your St. Louis Battlehawks are back at the Dome Saturday, May 16th at 2 p.m. taking on the Houston Gamblers. It's Hats Off to Heroes Day, plus fans score a free Battlehawks hat while supplies last. Get your tickets now at UFL Battlehawks. Caw is the law.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 7:40, and so far, knock on wood, it's been a pretty easy morning on the roads. Let's see if that still holds. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, considering we're at the peak rush hour time, Megan, normally I'd be talking about delays on pretty much every interstate, but right now it's just really on the south side, and there are just slowdowns, not jams. But northbound 55, the right lanes are still slow. North of Merrimack Bottom, most of the way up to 270 from an earlier crash, and from Bayless all the way up through Virginia, it's pretty busy as well. North 270, it's a little slow passing Gravois at the merge on. It's a little slow north of Manchester, not that bad. Eastbound Highway 30, West Watson to 270 is busy in spots. Northbound Tesson Ferry, north of Butler Hill, up through Kennerly looks pretty congested. Lindbergh between 64 and Ladue is kind of slow out west. Southbound 61, eastbound 64, eastbound 70 all look great. Right around the Interbelt, westbound 64 coming through Bellevue is just a little busy. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 just has a brief slowdown passing 159, but then it opens up and it's still wide open across the Poplar Musial Veterans Bridges. And I'm seeing the restrictions and delays. It looks like northbound's worse than southbound on 203 between Gateway National Golf Club and 5570. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 7:41, and it feels like things have brightened up a little bit in downtown St. Louis. Not stormy looking like it was maybe an hour ago. Let's get the latest from our AccuWeather meteorologist, John Farrick.
Yeah, we've had some thunderstorms passing by generally to the north over the last couple of hours. Now they're shifting farther away to the east, so we should see the clouds break up for a little bit more in the way of sunshine as we head through the day. Today, a warmer day up to 85, then mostly cloudy tonight. Should be dry for the Cards game this evening, but it does look like later tonight after midnight there could be a thunderstorm in a few spots. Down to 69, and then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers and a heavy gusty thunderstorm in the area. A high 83, then breezy and hot Sunday, partly sunny, up to 92. Very warm again on Monday. Clouds and sun, breezy, a thunderstorm in the afternoon up to 86. And a few showers and a thunderstorm around for Tuesday, a high 78. Currently at 62 in St. Peter, 63 in Florida. Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist John Feerick on 104.1 FM KMOX.